Hey Business 20 students, this is Mr.D and this is week 5 of our 8-week business math class here at Norco College Fall 2022. So we only have 3 more weeks after this week to go. This marks the exact halfway point. So we have 4 more weeks total, but 3 more after this week. And so this week, I'm gonna do a video here. We're gonna talk a little bit about last week, and then I'm going to get into what we'll be covering this week in Chapter 5. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Here I am on our home page in Canvas, and I'm going to go ahead and select Module number 2. Actually, we'll select Module number 2, but we're going to go into Module 3. So we ended Module 2 yesterday on Sunday by looking at Chapter 10 and 11. We looked at simple interest and promissory notes, and then we also looked at compound interest and present value. And hopefully you guys have discovered that in the study pages for each chapter that I'm building every week, you found that not only do I have the sections of the textbook that you should be looking at, and only the sections that you should be looking at. In other words, you don't need to study the whole chapter, you just need to study the sections that I'm recommending that you study. And all you need to do is work through the problems there. If you do that, you'll probably be able to solve 95% of the questions. I also have a video of me working out some of those problems, so you can actually just click the video, open your book, and work with me through it. And by the time I'm done, you should have a pretty good understanding of the different concepts, like how to do simple interest, how to do the simple interest formula, and then also how to do promissory notes. And that was last week. And then, of course, I also have in here, so those are videos by me. I also have in here PowerPoints, and then I have some YouTube videos. If those could be of any help to you, you can watch a few of those if you need a little bit more help trying to grasp the concepts. So just keep in mind, I also have the PowerPoint slides, the exact slides that you should look at for each of the concepts being covered in the textbook. So if you do that, and you go through those study pages, chances are you're going to do a lot better on your exams. I did have a few areas where I saw students were struggling, and I did send an email on that last week. So it was the area of, I think some people get confused on present value versus future value. So present value is when you know how much you have now, when you know how much you want to have in the future, you want to try and discover, well, if I need that in the future, what am I going to need today to invest so that I'll have that in the future? So that's the present value. It's when you don't know what you need today to get what you really want in the future. Future value, which is what most compound interest problems are, is that you know what you have today, but you don't know what it'll be worth in the future, so you want to invest it. And that's a present value that has, I want to find out what the future value of it is. So if I have $10,000 today, I want to find out what is that $10,000 going to be worth in 10 years. So I'll do the math with the interest rate, etc. And so that's where most people struggle, is the difference between those two. And a lot of the mistakes, though, as I worked through the check-in assignments this last week, wasn't really that you weren't on the right track. It's just you made math problems, like you didn't add 2 things together correctly, or you divided instead of multiplied. So those kinds of problems were primarily it, but hopefully you got my feedback, hopefully you saw the answers, and you were able to work through some of those before you got to the exam, which was also last week. So you guys finished your first exam, which was a midterm exam based on chapters 3 all the way to chapter 11. I think it was only 25 questions, so not too many to work on. Some fill in, and then most multiple choice. I don't know if you noticed, but on the quizzes as well, I also broke the quiz into 3 questions from the 2 different chapters that we're covering each week. So you have 3 questions on the quiz, and 6 questions total, because a lot more of them are fill-in questions, because I want you to be able to, give your answer. Of course, that means I have to go and grade it, so I'm doing my best to get back in there within 24 hours to grade those. But that was last week, so you looked at those 2 items last week. Again, simple interest, promissory note. Simple interest being that you're just looking at interest over a period of time, and then we looked at compound interest in chapter 11, where you were using the tables or the formula, coming up with what is interest upon my interest. And so far, most of you did pretty well on that. As we move now into this week, week number 5, once again, you do have a Read Me First that gets into all what we're going to be looking at, the difference between annuities and what annuities are, and then also mortgages. So you can read all that. And we'll be covering those 2 topics this week, annuity and also mortgages or home loans. There's also a Help Sienna for this week as well, week number 5. So Help Sienna work through the problems. It's just really giving you the context in which her business is related to these 2 principles of business mathematics. What is an annuity? Annuity is really just it's also a savings, but it's not a lump sum that you're saving. It's actually making payments into the annuity that is also gaining compound interest. So you're adding, to your account, an annuity account every month or every year. You're adding a certain amount of money, a fixed amount of money, and it's earning interest, and that money is earning interest on its interest, and it accumulates over time. And then at the end point, you have a certain amount of money that you were hoping to save. And so that's what an annuity does. You can also do it the other way around, where you're going to be paid from an annuity and you're made payments out from the annuity based on how much value it has, etc. So most of the problems, though, when it comes to business, are going to be loans that you borrow, and you're using an annuity to save, so you don't have to take out a loan. So anyway, that's kind of how those work. And then you're going to be looking at mortgages, as I mentioned. So Help Sienna, you have a few Mark Me Dones for those 2, Read Me First and Sienna, and you also have Mark Me Done for your study page chapter 12 and your study page chapter 14. But that's where all the material is for you to do your best on the problems. I do have a tips for solving word problems. It's the same one that I've had last week. And then I have a new formula sheet for this week. The formula sheet actually has formulas for figuring out annuities. Actually, I give you the actual steps. So here's the steps to figuring out a future value using tables for an ordinary annuity and for an annuity due. And all the differences is an ordinary annuity takes the interest at the end, or takes the money deposit at the end of a period, and annuity due takes it at the beginning of the period. And of course, at the beginning means you're going to be earning interest on it. So you have to figure out, it's really just a matter of adding 1 or subtracting 1 from the chart periods that you were looking up when you were trying to find compound interest. You found how many periods was it going to be compounded. In this case, with an annuity, you do the same thing, but you're going to either be adding 1 or subtracting 1 depending on whether it's annuity due or whether it's an ordinary annuity. But you're still going to be using the table factors. I also do give you the formulas here for both annuity due and ordinary annuity. If those of you who want to take a shot at that, you can. I also have present value using tables, and then whether it be annuity due or an ordinary annuity, and then also have the formulas for those. And then I also have sinking fund tables as well as the sinking fund. And a sinking fund is basically where you're looking for a certain amount and you're putting money away for a certain amount of period of time. It's a form of an annuity where you have a fixed amount that you're hoping to gain at the end of that. And so you need to figure out, I know what I want in the end, so what do I need to do to get there? That's a sinking fund. Anyway, then I have all the annuity tables down here. I have both the present value annuity table as well as the future value annuity table. And then I also have the amortization table, how to calculate that when you're figuring out mortgage payments, interest, etc. on a mortgage loan. And then I have that table down here. So that's your formula sheet. And you can print that out and use it when you're doing your work on this chapter. But of course, then you have your check-in assignment. So it's going to be due on Thursday. If you want my feedback, if you don't want my feedback, then turn it in after Thursday. But if you turn it in by Thursday, I will give you feedback, and that way you can make corrections as you prepare to take your quiz, which is right here. And then you have since this is a new module, you have a new case study number 3, which is an annuity question that deals with actually a sinking fund question, that Sienna is looking to have a certain amount of money in a sinking fund so that she can expand her business. And however, the cost of construction is going to go up because of inflation, so you have to figure out an extra step in there on inflation. So if you have any questions on that, please let me know. But that's this week, week number 5. And if you guys have any trouble at all, don't hesitate to get a hold of me. And very important, I didn't mention, is we are going to have a Zoom session on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. And I will work through some of the problems in the annuity chapter. And if I have time, I'll also do chapter 14 and work through some of the problems there. I'm not doing the check-in assignments, but I plan on doing similar problems to the check-in assignments, so that way you can figure out how to work out some of these problems before you do the check-in assignment or before you do the quiz. So anyway, that's it for this week. Have a great week, everybody, and keep up the good work. And if you're struggling or having any trouble whatsoever, please get a hold of me and we'll work out a time to meet, or we can work out a time to go to tutoring, whatever it might help to get through these chapters. I know math is a little bit of a different subject, especially business math, and some of this stuff is totally new to some of you. And so it takes a bit to wrap your mind around it. I even make mistakes on it because it's not something I do every day. I don't get frustrated if you're not getting it or understanding it, because it's not necessarily easy to understand right away. For some people it is, others it isn't. So do your best, continue to do your best. I'll be right here to help you as much as I can along the way. So see you all.